Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. Don't turn that channel. We got a very special guest on tonight's program, Pastor Iverson Jackson, formerly a lieutenant colonel in the armed forces and also someone who's very deeply involved in ministry to at-risk young people. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black, and we have a very special guest with us, Pastor
Iverson Jackson.
Iverson Jackson. Good to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Now, as I've told you offset, we don't rehearse any of this.
Okay.
This is just a conversation.
But I'm trying to remember my lines.
Well, there aren't any lines.
Oh, because there aren't any lines. Okay.
No teleprompter or anything. And anybody that watches this show knows none of this is pre-planned. We just want to get to know you.
All right.
And I want the audience to know I personally am getting to know you right now.
Yeah.
And on every show, even people that I interview that I think I know, I learn so much about them. So here's what I have heard. You are a pastor of a church in Little Rock.
That's correct.
And you've been in the military you're retired from the military.
Retired from the military.
And I'm a military guy.
Okay.
And now, I don't want to say too much, but you were and still are, I guess, even though you're retired, a lieutenant colonel.
Yes, sir.
And I was an E4.
All right.
In the United States Army.
All right.
So we want to talk about that because I want people to find out about you.
Okay.
You know, we see people all the time in public and have no clue of their story.
Yeah,
and
right,
every person has a story.
Every person.
Everybody. So I want to hear your story. Your name?
My name is Iverson Jackson.
And you are from
and
where?
Iverson is my first name.
Iverson. And where are you from?
Little Rock, but really it's not. Little Rock is south of Little Rock in a little community called Wrightsville.
Wrightsville.
Yeah,
well, everybody knows where Wrightsville is.
Just about. Yeah, that's where the prison is at.
Well, I didn't mean anything by that.
That's where I grew up. I spent most of my time there.
So where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at Mills.
Mills.
This is for the class of 80, this is our 40th year.
My youth pastor here at this church, my athletic director, also graduated from Mills High School.
What year?
I have no idea. I think he's almost 40.
He's 40?
I think he's about 40.
We graduated 40 years ago.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Well, this October we're celebrating my Little Rock Central High School 50th celebration.
Wow.
And I graduated too. You know, that's a shock to everybody, especially my teachers.
I know.
So you grew up in Wrightsville, graduated from Mills High School.
Right.
Were you an athlete?
Yeah, I played football there, then went to Southern Arkansas University, played there. And
you played at SAU?
Yeah, SAU.
Is that
a
Monticello?
No,
Magnolia.
Monticello is the Bow Weevils.
Okay.
University of Arkansas.
Y'all the mule riders.
We're mule riders.
And what did you play?
I played a defensive end there.
Defensive end. I played defensive halfback at Little Rock Central High School.
Oh, okay.
I'm a legend in my own mind.
Most of the guys that went to Central are.
Yeah, most of us are. So you went to college, and what did you major in?
I majored in business.
In business.
And minored in military science.
Now, somehow military science continued to work its way into your career and your life to this day.
It did, because I was commissioned in the Army in 1983, December 1983, into the United States Army Reserve as a second lieutenant, spent 25 years, retired December of 2008, almost 25 years to the minute in there. And so enjoyed being in there. So I was in uniform since I was 15, counting ROTC in high school.
Lieutenant Colonel. Now, I'm going to have to go through my brain here. Full bird and then Lieutenant Colonel.
No, Lieutenant Colonel, then full bird.
Yeah, but you had the cluster.
Yes, the clover, yeah.
And it was silver?
Silver. Major is
go.
Go, and Lieutenant Colonel
and then
silver.
The full bird
the eagle.
is the eagle.
Yeah, the eagle. Yeah,
and then
no mistake.
And after that's the
and
general.
The general officer.
So you were up there pretty significantly.
Yeah. But you know what? I told my children I would not miss their high school graduation because I missed so much deployments, going and so forth. And my daughter graduated in May of 2009, my oldest daughter.
From?
My unit, from Mills.
From Mills as well.
Yeah, in Mills. And my unit deployed in March of 2009, so I would have been gone.
Wow.
So to retire was the only way to guarantee that I wouldn't miss that, because I missed so much with them growing up.
So how many, you have a wife for how long?
I do have a wife.
A wife. How many years?
December 1st will be 30 years.
I traveled nationally and did family enrichment seminars, and back in those days, so I've been married for 30 years, and somebody clapped, and I said, well, it took three wives.
Yeah.
But
so you
not
had to
really.
make that. You had to make that clear.
I've only been married one time for 47 years. But you know, anything to build rapport with the audience, I'm not sure that's the best way to do it. But you've been married for how long?
30 years.
30 years. And how many children?
We have 3 children. India's 28. No, which one?
These are loaded questions.
Charisma's 26. She'll be 27 Thursday, which will be June 25th. I know it won't be that time. And then Michaela is 21.
Wow.
Yeah.
All girls?
All girls.
You're spoiled.
I am.
I only have 2 daughters.
I grew up with, it was my mother and 3 sisters. And now it's my wife and 3 daughters.
Oh, man.
So you
are spoiled.
All the way.
Wow.
All the way.
So this show is really designed to talk about fostering and adopting and mentoring, and you have been very involved most of your life, your adult life, working with at-risk youth in some capacity, or working with students in their education, and being a dad. How important is being a dad in the lives of young people today?
I think, but I know it's critical. We just had Father's Day and doing a little research on that. You look at the statistics there. If a mother goes to church regularly and the rest of the family doesn't go, there's a 2 to 3% chance that the children will grow up and go to church regularly. If the mother and father goes, there's a 33% chance. But if the father goes, even if the mother's agnostic, there's a 44% chance that the children will grow up and go to church regularly. So,
and you think that's important? You think faith's important?
If you believe numbers. If you believe numbers. So the father is the factor. The father, mother's not that you're not important. I know it's a conversation between us, but mothers, please, you are very important. All right? But the father factor is the most important factor with the children. And having all girls, I mean, yes, I'm spoiled, but they're all daddy's girls too.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Man, I want to know more about that. So we're going to take a very brief break, and we'll be right back with Pastor Iverson Jackson.
Yeah.
So don't go away. Hi, I'm Perry Black right here at Arkansas Christian Academy, Central Arkansas's fully accredited premier Christian school and one of the best kept secrets in Saline County. But we are growing throughout this summer, and we are opening August the 10th, and we would love to give you and your family a tour if you would just contact us at 501-847-0112. God bless.
We support a lot of foster care organizations across the state. What makes Second Chance Ranch unique is what Pastor Perry says often, is that it's not a group home, but it's a group of homes. And so one of the reasons we've been so involved with Second Chance Ranch is that we love the fact that you're making a difference in kids, a real difference in kids. Life is about the legacy that you leave. And at the end of the day, God called us to help people. And He called us to help people that can't help themselves. And so, why do we support the ranch? Because we want to help kids that are hurting. And we want to help an organization that is truly helping those kids. So, why should other people do that? To me, it's real simple. Is that you're only as good as the legacy you leave. And there's no greater thing to do than to help hurting kids.
What more could you ask for to make an impact on a child's life? And I really feel like that's part of the reason why we have the business, is that we've been given so much, and it's our calling to give back to the places that God is doing a major work in people's lives. You don't have to worry that your money is not going to be used for the kids. The people that run Second Chance Ranch have integrity, and the money goes for the kids.
Welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. If for some reason you're just now joining us, where you been? We have a very exciting guest with us today, Pastor
Iverson Jackson.
And Lieutenant Colonel
Jackson.
And we want to just take one moment.
Retired.
We want to take a moment and tell everyone thank you for protecting and serving, and those that are serving right now, while we're laughing on set, serving around the world, guarding and protecting this great nation. Now, if any of you are paying attention, and you know, we have this moving hat that floats its way around the stage. I hang at different places to see if anybody's paying attention. But if you notice right over our guest's shoulder, there's an American flag star. And I've got the I Love the USA here. I did that because I knew you're a retired military. Now, when we say retired military, do you ever really retire from the military?
You retire, if you can retire two different ways. You can resign your commission and everything freezes in place right there, or you can retire, which means that you're eligible for a recall up until you reach the age 60. So I could be recalled anytime.
Really? So if there was a national or international emergency, they could recall you. And would you go?
Absolutely. The only reason I got out, because that was the only way I could guarantee I wouldn't miss my daughter's graduation.
When I was in Bible school, I had gotten out of the Army, obviously, and I came down on orders to go into 2-week training for summer.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I had fulfilled my active duty status, you know, there's a 6-year obligation, as you're well aware. And I was excited about it because when I got out, I had turned in all my Army stuff. And I thought, I'm going to get new boots, new field jacket, new uniforms. And better than that, I'm going to go to 2 weeks with guys from all over Texas. And I'm going to be able to have Bible studies and discipleship programs and send them back to their... And the only problem was, and you mentioned your daughter's graduation, my oldest daughter was due to be born was born August the 16th. I hope that's right. And so I just wrote a letter and said, is there any way you can move me up a couple of weeks or move me back a couple of weeks? Because I was excited about going. I just thought, what a great missionary opportunity. And you've been able to use your military service to work with what we would typically refer to as at-risk youth or youth in general. Can you tell me about that?
You know, as you know as well as I know, when you go into the military, you got people coming from all types of backgrounds. That's one thing I love about it, because you're in a uniform, you're Army green.
And you're all brothers.
And you're all brothers. It doesn't make a difference. As a matter of fact, you stand in the back of a platoon. Sometimes it's hard to tell what ethnicity a person is, and it really doesn't matter. But when kids come, young people come into the service, they're coming from all types of situations. Sometimes that military service is an escape route for them, coming from you know, a bad background. So you know that you have protocol you have to follow and all that, but you still see them as young people, and you still have to deal with them with the same issues. You, in essence, become their father. You're the drill sergeant. You know, you sing the songs on, you know, drill sergeant, all of those things, and the drill sergeant says, "Yeah, I'm your mom, I'm your daddy." I know they say it a little differently now than when you and I went through, but you're still dealing with kids that have all different types of issues. And you have to help them work through those things, despite you know, the training and everything else. And we do that with the chaplains. Most of the time, we'll work with chaplains to help kids out, and you get them through there. It's a rare case when it goes beyond what we can do for them.
You had mentioned you were in ROTC in high school. Obviously, you continued in your military science career with ROTC in college. So let me ask you a personal question. Was your dad actively involved in your life growing up?
When I reached the age of about 12, 13 in there, then we connected and have stayed connected ever since.
Good.
I mean, he always lived in the community. I always knew who he was. We always visited. But the liberty to, because, you know, obviously you got two different families there. So the liberty to be with him then, as I became an adolescent, you know, was there. And that's where I spent most of my time.
The reason I asked that, I was going to follow up with, so what role did the role models in ROTC and, if you would use the phrase, the regiment of ROTC, did that play a significant role in your growth and development?
I mean, you can't really measure it, because the structure that's there, there's always someone there. And, you know, what most people fail to understand, I'll say most people, is that children, they crave discipline and order. And when you have that discipline and order, then a child feel like they're accomplishing something. And without that, I told you I did substitute teaching for a while. I did a lot of long-term assignments, and one of the assignments I did was a 5th grade class, and they had gone through several teachers. But I just kind of applied the military standards within the bounds of what the school allows you to do. And the students, they would say, "Oh, we don't like you, Mr. Jackson, but we love you because we're learning things." And so kids, they want that structure so that they can learn. Many of them couldn't write. They didn't know really anything, and once they started learning, they started getting an appetite to learn. So it became easier and easier, and then they would pursue you to learn. So just having that structure, someone there that cared about them, cared enough that they would learn.
Yeah, they wanted to please you.
Absolutely.
And they wanted to live up to your expectations.
Yes,
all you had to do was sell them
yes.
on their ability
Yes.
that you saw in them.
Yes. And one thing, Pastor, what I knew was absolutely important, just like when we were in the service, whatever you told them, you had to follow through. Absolutely, no matter what the cost.
Whether that was a positive reinforcement or a consequence.
Or a consequence.
They had
now,
to believe
that's the
you
word
meant
I use with them a lot, because when I would go in the classroom, I would take the rules off the wall, and no one could do anything. You had to just stand there. I said, these are the rules. We went through the rules. I said, these are the consequences for breaking the rules.
So you're telling me, you're actually telling me what I already know. So you're telling me that young people want structure.
Absolutely.
They want people to believe in them.
Yes.
They want to please.
Yes.
And they want to reach a high standard.
Yes. Yes. Because think about it. If they're never challenged, they don't learn. When they go out into the world, they're going to be a failure. It would take an extraordinary child to rise above that, not being taught. And so when they go out there and they're ready to meet the challenge, then they're going to think back on their training. They're going to think, wow, I'm ready for this. He prepared me for this. It's like when I was teaching senior ROTC, I would be particularly at University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, and the morning, morning is PT. So you come in there and they see me walk in, and it's like, oh no. And they was like, oh, we hate to see you coming, Colonel Jackson. But when it was over, they like, we hate to see you coming, but we love it because we know we're going to get a good workout.
Boy, that's powerful.
Yeah.
We're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back with Iverson Jackson and see how you can see the destiny and future of your child molded through the principles of the Word of God and the love of God. We'll be right back.
A mission field around you is filled with young hearts needing a forever family. And at Second Chance Youth Ranch, our team is committed to providing healthy, stable, loving homes and families to hurting children in the Arkansas foster care system and those up for adoption. Please contact us if you feel the tug at your heart to help foster or adopt, and find out the steps you could take to help fulfill a child's lifelong dream. Maybe you can't foster or adopt, but you could help. The need for thousands of children in the system is staggering. But with the help of faithful partners and business alliances, we are meeting those needs right now. Would you help us make a difference? Every gift, regardless of size, impacts a child's life directly and helps provide for a home in the gap right now. Visit the Second Chance Youth Ranch website at 2CYR.org to read more, watch the stories, and to make a contribution for a hurting child's care. Monthly partners are needed, so please contact us right away. And as you partner with this ministry, you are partnering with the Heavenly Father that has promised to be Father to the fatherless. God bless you for helping Second Chance Youth Ranch.
Hey, welcome back. We are having a phenomenal discussion about family, mentoring, teaching, ROTC, the military.
Yes.
Pastor Iverson Jackson.
Yeah.
Does anybody ever call you Jackson?
All the time.
The time.
I could probably get called Jackson more than Iverson.
Because every time I look at you say Iverson Jackson.
In the military, you don't have a first name in the military.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, when I was in the military, I can't even tell you the names I got called.
That's not true.
So tell me, you are a pastor in
Yes.
Little Rock. Tell us where your church is, the name of it, how somebody can find your church.
We're at Zoe Bible Church. It's 1209 Pratt Road, Little Rock. Real easy to find, just off I-530, about a mile west off of I-530 on
Zoe, let me
Zoe.
think. That's a word. What does Zoe mean?
One of those words means life as God has it.
Oh man, so if someone in that area is looking for a church where they want to
We're
find
there.
out life as
Yes.
God has it,
Yes, you can come right there.
come right there.
Yeah, and you can join us. We have a daily radio program, comes on AM 1050 at 9:45. Been on there.
1050, is that KAAY?
No, KJBN.
Okay.
KJBN. Of course, we have Facebook page, website, Zoe at Zoe Bible Church, Little Rock. They can get us there. Podcast, they can get us there.
When are
also.
your services?
Services are Sunday mornings at 10:30 and Wednesday nights at 7.
Everybody's invited?
Everybody's invited.
Good.
Everybody.
What do you have for children and teenagers?
Well, children and teenagers, we all still have a group assembly there, and they can come and join in with
Good.
everybody else.
So anybody's looking for a great church and somebody that has a heart for God and a
Yes.
heart for people?
Yes.
And believes in young people.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Love
has
them.
and has a proven track record on how to reach young
Yes.
people.
Yes.
Now, can you tell me about a young man that was in your school when you were doing a long-term sub,
Yep.
and he was struggling? Can you
Yes.
tell me about that?
Yeah, his young man, I think had a fourth grade, I think it was, something along that line. But anyway, I noticed that he was very bright. When he took his tests, he always made good grades, but he would only be in school 2 to 3 times a week. He would, I don't think he ever made it a complete week. And so they were saying he was a problem child.
Yeah.
Now my take on that, Pastor, is that there are no problem children.
Thank you.
There were problem adults, problem administrations, but the children were not a problem.
Children with problems.
Children.
No problem
But
children.
no problem
Yeah.
children. So that's always been my take. And when I just sit him down and just talk to him, hey, what's going on? He said, well, Mr. Jackson, I just want to see my little brother. What I didn't know was he was in foster care. His little brother was in foster care. They had been split up. His little brother was like in the 1st grade. He was in the 4th grade. He just wanted to know that his little brother was still okay. No one stopped to ask him.
So he was totally distracted.
Totally distracted, still making good grades, still making decent, he was about a B student. He could have been an A+ student.
Now, how was he functioning in foster care but only coming to school 3 days a week? How did that work?
Well, whomever was
He just
keeping him,
refused to
and I think
come?
he was going from one
One
he wasn't
placement
a
to
set,
another.
one placement to another.
Yeah.
And his mother was having some issues.
Sure.
So I don't want to go into that.
Sure.
But once I talked to the other, found out who his brother was, went talked to the principal, hey, what can we do? And she said, well, Mr. Jackson, let him do his lunch with that class. End of problems.
Wow.
Just sitting down talking to a child. What's going on? I just want to make sure my little brother's all right. So here's a 9-year-old taking on the responsibility of a father almost.
Yeah. Yeah, so many times in our lives we don't really think about it. We judge everybody by their actions.
Yes.
We
Yes.
judge ourselves by our good intentions.
Yeah.
But what we see a lot of times is we act out, maybe even unconsciously. When we're troubled in here,
Right.
it has a tendency to come out.
That's right.
And you discovered that. Now, you've used your military training. You also taught in university, college?
CYR-TV, University of Arkansas, Little Rock, UAPB, University of Arkansas, Monticello, and where else that? So
And you
those
taught
3
in
places.
uniform.
In uniform, yeah.
And what did you teach exactly?
I taught leadership management. And so you'll teach all 4 levels, but the first 2 levels are anybody at the university can take those. The second 2 levels, 3 and 4, you have to be a contracted student or, that's planning to go into the military. So you end up really teaching all 4 levels.
Did you find that there was an interest or a hunger in those young students for
absolutely.
leadership
Absolutely.
principles?
Absolutely. I've spent a lot of time teaching, 20-something years teaching, and you find that there's nowhere I've been that I didn't find it. It's easier to say like that.
Yeah.
Because kids they're kind of like we say the empty bucket, you just fill them up. And you find something that will spark their interest.
Yeah.
And when they're interested in, or when they see that all their other friends are interested, they
Yeah.
get on board. Because
Yeah,
kids don't like to be left out.
Exactly. I did a summer camp years ago, and I did a leadership training every morning and it was optional. Anybody that wanted to come could come. And about 65% of the camp came to the leadership training. And I had a young lady just stop me 2 weeks ago on a Wednesday night here at church. First time I had met the mother, and she had a teenage daughter with her, and I escorted the teenage daughter to our youth program.
Wow.
And when I came back, I talked to the mom a minute. She said, my daughter has a real hunger for youth and youth leadership.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's just a hunger.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit, how can a mom or a dad, I was joking with you off set, you know, in our first segment you mentioned the moms because we were talking about how important dads are. None of us would be here without our mama.
No.
You know, mama will take you out. We got 1 minute. I want you to just address our audience and encourage those out there. So many moms who are trying to fill the shoes of both mom and dad. Dad's completely out of the picture, or he's just an absentee professional father.
Right.
Talk to our families out there. We've got about 45 seconds about what is their hope and who is their hope.
Hope. Well, the hope is in Jesus Christ. That's the most important thing in a child's life, is to bring them into a right relationship with Jesus Christ. Now, I'll say this also, that I grew up in a single parent home, and what was really important was that we had an extended family. My uncles, bigger, older cousins would step in to keep me on track. So, you know, sometimes you have to reach out, maybe a neighbor that has a proven track record of being a good person, moral person. Now, whatever the case may be, you should never leave your children with anyone, even though they're good, you still have to take the responsibility of that. So I want to say that you reach out to those extended families, make sure that you are living that virtuous life in front of them, because that's what makes the difference, is the role modeling. That's
so
what
important.
makes the difference.
So important. We want to hear from you right here at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. Pastor Iverson Jackson, his church there in Little Rock. You need to get connected. We're praying for you. There is hope. The Scripture says, I know the plans I have for you, saith the Lord, plans to give you hope in the future. And when you call to me, I'll answer you. There are men and churches all over your community that want to help you. So reach out and watch what God will do. Be encouraged. We'll talk to you again right here next time at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. God bless. 2 Timothy chapter 2, I believe it is, says that the servant of the Lord must not strive but be gentle and apt to teach. That God pre-adventure would grant people repentance to the acknowledging of the truth, that they might save themselves from the snare of the devil. What does that mean? You just keep loving people, keep teaching the Word of God, and you know what God will do? He'll open people's hearts, and what was just absolutely stupid and asinine and just ridiculous a moment ago, boom! Jesus come into your heart like He did me.